All right, all right. Matthew McConaughey status. What is going on, guys? What is up, folks? I am back. All right. Thinking a lot about my life. Ah, I'm finding it hard to start again, basically. Like I'm trying to return to work, and it's like it's like heck. Basically, I have to tell you guys what looking for work is like. Should be a little bit easier with teaching, but like even then, it's like I'm still getting like cross-examined a bunch. I'm still having them ask obnoxious questions like, "Why'd you leave your last job?" Like, what do you really expect me to say? And this freaking camera, it was doing so well yesterday. Come on, just stay on, please. Like, no one just randomly leaves their last school in the middle of February. Okay, basically you had to have been fired. And that's the kind of thing, it's like, it's enough to just bring down an entire interview, like, regardless. And I'll be damned if I drive out to a freaking interview and have it instantly screwed in the first 5 seconds because I was asked that obnoxious bullcrap backward facing question. Why'd you leave your last school? It clearly wasn't my choice. Okay? Obviously. Like I said, obviously, who would just randomly leave in the middle of February by their own will and accord? Like, that's not something someone would do. Unless, of course, you like won the lottery or something, or you had another option lined up. But if you look carefully at my resume, what you'll see is that that wasn't the case. There is basically nothing there after my most recent employer. Because, again, I've been unemployed this entire freaking time. So it's like, again, you've got to like kind of think a few steps ahead too. Don't put it 100% on the person who's interviewing for the job. Because I think it's kind of like a bullheaded mentality that you alone are responsible for your career. I mean, it's somewhat true, yes and no, but it's kind of like an interview itself, is how I would put it. All right, Uncle, do this quest. Both parties have to agree. And the reality of work is that you have to be offered employment by an employer for you to claim it on your resume. I mean, technically you can lie on your resume, but that's going to obviously come back in the background check, so I don't know why you would even bother lying on your resume. Nowadays, it seems like that's not a very prudent thing to do. Bare knuckle friendships.
It's the lumbago. If I overdo it, I'll get a relapse. It's very serious.
Get up or get out.
You can be so testy. What is it, constipation?
Guess you're my proof I'll never quite outrun my sins.
You got so sanctimonious in your old age. No wonder she left you. It's like rooming with the King James Bible.
Get up!
Ow! I'm getting up. Oh, no, wait, what did I have to tell you? I went into town.
I hate John Marston.
Got a little
It's so
drunk.
freaking annoying.
Oh, shit! Well, we gotta go. We gotta go to Saint Denis. Charles Smith is alive, I reckon.
Charles Smith alive? Really?
I reckon. Unless I dreamed it all, and by the sound of it, not doing too good neither.
He's no Arthur. The problem too, guys, I've been just circling the drain, man. I don't have a good friend group. Don't have a job anymore. I'm just trying to hold on to my chips at this point.
Let's get off.
And I just haven't been a good way since I lost my job.
Never liked this place.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
And I'd like to add the caveat that I didn't like run out of my previous place of employment. Like I did like my job.
Let's split up.
Good idea.
And overall, I had a very positive relationship with my boss.
Now, how about I take the saloons? And you
I
take
don't know
slow.
why in interviews people got to nitpick like that. I'm telling you, man. It's like I'm fighting tooth and nail to be positive in the interview because I know the minute I turn negative, it's doomed.
Hey, mister.
Fine morning. Hello, ma'am.
It's like just screwed. The entire thing is screwed. As soon as I start getting negative. Because no one wants to work with a negative Nancy, and I'm someone who can like piss and moan and complain like the best of them. Screw this, screw that, it's all scuffed. I was stabbed in the back. Like, I'm telling you, once I get started, like I don't stop. So like I'm trying my best, my darndest in this interview to be positive and be like, here's what I did for them, here's what I could do for your school. You know, I could be the teacher, I could be the case manager, I could be the what is it, team lead.
Why are you doing this?
What is the point of this?
Because I have to get to where I have to go, man. And there is definitely a hiring bias against men. As I termed it in a status recently, like a passive hiring bias against men. It's definitely screwed up. But it is what it is.
How may I help you today?
That's the reason why in teaching especially, like I will see an entire hiring team of like 4 and 5 women. Not one man, just 4 and 5 women. It's so freaking stupid out here. Because there's no control on it at all. There's no like hiring authority.
Morning, mister.
You get the hat?
Quality makes the hardiest clothes around. Don't doubt it.
Alright, John Marston just got slightly better. They still don't have a bison pelt or a bull hide. I need boar, rabbit, and it has to be perfect. Boar, rabbit, bull, and bison. That's quite a tall order.
Garments is a little different.
Boar, rabbit, bull, and bison.
You'll find them lower.
Treasure. You'll see.
I was just having this reflection too. The entire reason I lost the job is because of the stress on the relationship that I had with my boss. That I myself was not responsible for. Basically, she had an accident, and when she came back, she tried to double time it, and it put a lot of stress on our relationship.
Bonjour. How can I help you today, sir?
Listen, you seen a big Indian fella?
Huh. Indian?
Yeah. A boxer.
Maybe we both were a bit to blame, because I said some things that maybe I shouldn't have said. I said I was feeling harassed.
Actually, yes. I think he's
She kept pulling me into her office with no agenda.
fighting out behind Saint Saturnin.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
No problem.
Fine, Charles. She kept telling me to do stuff I didn't want to do. Like, I had a job that was basically pointless.
Enjoy the fight.
And I should clarify. Like, I was basically the special education teacher, but as the teacher, I had multiple other responsibilities and roles, right? So one of those roles was like what they call a car line greeter. That is basically the person that helps the kindergartners get to the right class on the first day of class. Because a lot of them don't know where they're going. And I had no problem doing that job at the beginning of the year when it was actually needed. But the problem is they wanted me to keep doing it.
Very sorry.
Come on, lady.
And I basically had to keep doing it. I did it all the way until February.
Are you making God dang!
Trying to get through. Oh, get out of the way. See a horse? Get out of the way. Alright, anyway. And it got to the point where I was basically just like what's it called? Like being a bench, like a wall warmer, I called it. Like you're just standing by the wall, greeting people as they come in. And that's basically like what my job became, is like I was like the Carline greeter. And it's not like I didn't have other things I could do too. I definitely had other responsibilities. Like I had to plan for groups, I had to do lesson planning. I know. I don't know why I have the gun out. Put it away, Arthur.
Oh, good lord. I was just beginning to enjoy some peace and quiet. Fun as it is seeing you
Ask that
vexed.
first barman
I
I
was
met.
only
He told
joshing
me
you.
Charles was here.
Kind of fun. You have.
Not one of life's great mysteries, it turns out.
Everything about John Marston's is so freaking boring. Like, I really don't know why they put this in the game.
We both know what you gotta do. I'm leaving now.
He don't know that.
And yeah, even McDonald's was taking me off this week. Usually I can go there.
I'm alive.
Charles,
So are you. So
I can go there and I can get an entire meal for $5.
What are you doing?
This time I checked it and I put in the order, and for some reason the app just automatically closed.
Kind of. Just,
And
I don't know. I'm throwing fights
it
for
was
$2.
so weird. Like, I go in because I checked. I'm like, did you guys get my order?
Like that?
Because the app just
Of course
closed.
not.
And
So,
somehow, for some reason, it added an extra hot and spicy on there. And it brought the order up by $2. Like, I ended up paying $7
Abigail's still alive too, only she left.
for basically an order that was not correct.
excuse me. I'd like to place a bet.
So basically what I'm thinking is I'm just going to take a break from McDonald's, because
Myself,
that is
Twig.
like some bad
Lone Wolf.
business.
How much?
All of this.
Okay. Funny thing, I pegged you for the favorite, but the odds just got real good. What about you,
I don't really
sir?
know all too well, too. It's like
Wager on the wolf here?
Little Caesars is
Real
$8.
redskin brave.
Pizza Hut is 12. Part of me is like, why would I go to Pizza Hut with the Little Caesars right there?
Have I got a treat for you? An epic battle.
I guess the taste of the pizza, you could say that.
Of ancient warriors and a not so
I could buy
On
2
my left, a ferocious
Little Caesars
battle
pizzas.
from the valleys, Simon of Wales.
I really
On
don't
my
care.
right, an Indian Hercules.
So how's the math work out? I could buy,
The untamable, the unbeatable.
let's see,
Yeah, I said unbeatable. Lone Wolf. You know
1,
how this works? No weapons,
2,
no forfeiting,
3.
no
I could
pride,
buy 3 Little Caesars pizzas for 2 Pizza Hut pizzas.
You win by knockout, you win by retirement, or you win by death. Let's have a good fight, boys. Let's keep it clean, but not so clean.
I should do a direct comparison too, whenever I clear out some of my pizza.
Try and stay on your feet, you hear? Hit him, Charles. Hit him, Lone Wolf. Knock him.
I don't like these kinds of fights too.
Don't black out just yet.
They have it in our day too, and it's so freaking barbaric and primitive, it's appalling, in my opinion.
Lone Wolf.
There's just something so primal about, like, watching grown men beat the tar at each other.
Charles.
Like, it's very animalistic, I'd argue. And it doesn't speak very highly to our culture in general, to our entire society. It doesn't speak very highly to it.
Lone wolf. Whoa.
It's very reminiscent of, like, the Roman Colosseum times.
Mighty unhappy.
So it goes.
Here's your share, partner.
I don't care, man.
We just made the bed. I said we
So you keen on staying around here or heading off with me and Uncle?
But, John, I haven't seen you two in years.
I know. But right now, my sense is you just need to lie low.
Where?
We got a little place up past Blackwater, in the high country.
Okay. I gotta grab my baggage. I booked a steamer heading upriver. That's why I was pretending to throw the fight.
Okay, boys. I'll meet you at the bridge outside Saint Denis.
What are you doing?
Oh, just have a few errands to run.
You're useless.
I am a deep thinker.
Be quick.
Come on. This way. My bag's on the dockside. So, what happened?
You mean Arthur and me, we were together. I had to get out, but he went back for the money. You know that Arthur...
Sure. Word got to me up north, so I went back and buried him in Miss Grimshaw.
I had to run. If any of us had been found, we'd have...
Oh, of course. I understand. He's where he would have wanted to be. A pretty hillside, facing the evening sun.
He gave me his satchel and some of his things in it. Remember that journal he always drew in? I got it. I'm a bit of a draftsman myself nowadays.
He was a good man. As much as any of us could be.
Getting sick like that.
These are some
has to
bad
rattle a
times, IRL.
Rattle him or
And they're good times in the gaming world, which I forgot I was going to put on TV. World of Warcraft, I'm not sure how long it's going to stay popular. And part of me is like, do I want to resub? Do I not want to? I do need like a pleasant distraction. It's something to take my mind off all this negative stuff, man. And that's part of the reason why I went to Japan, because I just had to get my mind off of everything. And it got to the point where I was starting to get used to getting around there, starting to get used to the transit system. Okay, there's a podcast. Okay, hold on. For some reason, I have to reload in order to cast Twitch to my television. I've done it too fast. Yeah, I did it too fast. Hold up. Come on, you're okay. Just gotta reconnect. I have to wait for it to fully resolve, I guess, before I hit the cast button. There it goes. It's one of those things where it's like they raise the level cap, which is a good and bad thing. The main bad thing about it is that uh, it's harder, right? It's harder for you to max your characters, and I have a bunch of alts by this point. I've got like probably 9 or 10 characters, I think.
Makes sense.
anyway. I heard all you were dead. Or I might have come.
I kind of wish he died. It's annoying
And
following
me
this
saying
adventure.
about you.
Dutch?
Who knows? Dead? Maybe? I'm not sure. I heard all kinds.
I wasn't a big
things,
fan of
but
Charles either.
One thing I know, he ain't around here. I ain't heard nothing real in years since, well, that time.
Nor me.
I just need time. That's like the number one thing I needed, and number one thing I was asking for from the school that was willing to offer me a job. And that school, that is some scuff stuff, man. I'm telling you. They had me pay for the credential,
They picked up Strauss.
and they made the offer contingent on that. Just some super sneaky stuff, some super bad stuff.
Died in custody. Never said a word.
And they ended up pulling the offer because I asked for extra time to move down there.
Everything that happened. All those
That's the main thing I was asking for because they only gave me 2 weeks.
None of us is innocent in that.
I said.
Dutch, least of all. But I don't think we would have.
I'm like, I remember telling my parents, like, if I had a family, it would have been impossible. I don't think it would have been possible at all. Because that's the thing with a lot of places, too, is they
hold on.
have income verification.
Why?
Those are Guido Martelli's men.
Who?
He used to work for Angelo Bronte.
It's so stupid, really.
Hey,
Because it's like I hadn't been working there. I'd only just gotten the job there.
What now?
Well, you go left, I go right. On 3.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Anyway, enough of that. Back to
You couldn't have thrown that pipe. Never just
back to
evidently.
yeah, you're gone. Back to World of Warcraft. WoW's a good escape of the game. None of these guys stay down.
Here it does.
Let's go. There's a wagon up there. I'll get my bag.
Okay.
Okay. Where was Uncle gonna meet us?
Over the bridge going out of town. West.
Hold on.
On it, dead or alive.
City law?
Not yet.
Keep your eye out. Saint Denis ain't short on police.
I remember that. Only too well.
Anyone?
Good so far. further we get from those gunshots, better chance we have. Of denying it, at least.
No, we can't get caught. Martelli has the police chief in his pocket. If they take us in, we won't get out of the interview room.
I don't want to get in a shootout over this. That's not the man I try to be anymore.
No, I don't want that either. You see anything? I think we're clear.
If I ever want to go back,
I would say the level cap increase is the number one reason why I'm not resubbing.
Happily remind you of that.
Because it's
wide open spaces.
$50. Actually, it's more than $50 because the sub is still there. $15 a month just to play the game. If it wasn't for that sub fee, I would resub and just finish leveling up my like my mage, my rogue.
Been getting shot at.
Well, they weren't very good shots. Come on, let's head for home.
Did you use this system? Like that is basically like the caliber of questions they were giving me during the interview. And technically they have a little list of questions. They can go off that list and ask me any old question that pops into their head. Like, do you have experience working with this group? Da 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 da. And yeah, they were asking me like, why'd you start and leave at this time? What was the other question? Oh, have you used this system before? It's like, yes, of course I have. Horse station. Where's the horse, though? Yet another quest for Uncle. Who's over there? Okay, Uncle, cool. I think in retrospect, I was a good teacher. I really did roll with the punches. That's the reason why I made it past my second anniversary.
Good to have the old gang back together again.
Let's just hope things don't turn out like last time.
Here he goes. What'd I tell you, Charles? Boy is as sour as weak old milk. No wonder she didn't stay with you. Not even a retired $2 whore would stay with you. That's the goddamn truth. Now, you used to be decent.
All they had to do to ace that interview too is just steer clear of the negativity. Don't focus on the gaps in employment.
Excuse me.
Oh, don't get all angry.
Because yeah, there are gaps. If you focus hard enough on them, yeah, I mean they become everything.
No hope. I mean, look at you. Look at this place. Your dream home. I've had better nightmares than this dream. Oh, darling Abigail, I've changed. Come live
Just
with
don't
me
get
in an
people to,
outhouse.
like I was
I
asking
wouldn't
about the
ask my
house
worst enemy to take a shit in.
What are you trying to say?
It's
across the
awful.
way,
It's a
and
dump.
it's just taken off the market.
House.
So any
It's gotta go.
explanation.
Get some self-respect. you
One of the
miserable
principals,
sack
I was
of
asking
shit.
for clarity
Build a
because he was
house
asking
on a
about
land and
references,
set
and I was like,
blood in.
okay, what
This
information
just
do you
needs a
need?
woman's touch.
And he
It
never
needs
got back to
leveling.
me.
No woman would touch this place.
And I was talking to him today on the phone. I should have told him that. And I'm like, you need to
I
work on your
reckon these horses
communication.
can have it down in a minute.
Because
Here,
I still
come on.
don't know what
Tie
information
that
you
end around
require for
horse.
the
You
references.
loop that end around there. Horses will pull it clean down. We good?
I think so.
All right. Well, let's get going. Now just pull.
You got this, John?
He said something that didn't really make sense either. I was asking him for feedback, and he's like, well, your answers didn't align with what we needed for the position. But if that was true, why did he request references then, in the first place? He had to request references because he was interested in hiring me. It's like, again, it's just a bunch of like cloak and dagger BS, as I would call it. Like a bunch of mind games, a bunch of BS.
I told you
And
it wouldn't be no trouble.
And now,
I don't remember it ever being so hard to get a job. Like, I don't remember ever needing to provide references. And then now, all of a sudden, today, it's like I have to give 3 to 5. Stop freaking talking, man. The game is annoying. They just don't stop talking. Anyway, it's like I need 3 to 5 references, like, no matter where I'm applying to get the job. And that was not the way it was before. The last 3 jobs I worked, I'm pretty sure I didn't have to give references. It's because they're a waste of time, man. Aren't you led at the school that was like promising me up and down, left, right, and center that they were going to hire me? They had me go on a big old wild goose chase, chasing down my references. I needed 3 supervisors and 2 others. And even after all that, they still didn't offer me the job. It's like, what the heck is your problem? So I feel like saying to the principal, like, what the heck is your problem? I ended up just letting it go, which good on me. Definitely good on me on that. Because that was some freaking stupid stuff.
Cakes hardwood and timber.
Okay.
And yeah, they don't need references to hire me. They could hire me without references.
Just need a bit of
It's a
peace
new
and
development,
quiet
and
for your
it's a big waste of time for
successful
everybody.
capital. Charles, make him work. Whip him if you have to.
I just don't know what people's problem is here. I'm going to start pushing back too. If they ask for references, I'll ask them what information they need. And if they don't get back to me, I'm not going to give them any references. Forget filling in the blanks for them too. You say you're an assistant principal with, over 20 years of experience or something like that. So why is it you can't answer a simple email? I recently asked someone to working with the university, it's like, how do you become a principal? And he's like, well, you got to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. And I'm just like looking through the list of requirements, and I'm just like, how do any of these people have I guess we can hit the bounty, then go the other way for Sadie. I'm like, how did they get in the position of being assistant principals and principals? Because they're so freaking inept. Like I said, he couldn't even respond to my email. I had to figure out from the application what information he needed and go from there. I still have yet to understand if he even contacted my references. I don't think he did. Locate Elias Green. Wanted dead or alive.
Easy there.
I wonder if there's someone there that's like throwing me under the bus too. Because it seems so freaking eerie and strange. That he was gung-ho about hiring me. And then, when push comes to shove, they decide not to. I don't know what the heck's that's about. Like I said, I think I did quite well in the interview. Where's this guy at?
Easy there, girl.
Just leave.
Excuse me.
What is it you want?
You know what? Get out of here.
Okay then.
Jesus. Who'd do a thing like this?
It's just hard to know, really, for
Hello?
me to know who to trust out here.
Not here.
The recruiter told me today, he's like, I don't think you're cut out for this. I'm like, BS, man. I'm one of the few people still here in Colorado with this skill set, with this knowledge, with this experience, with this education. And so why is it that I'm being, like, again, examined, cross-examined, railroaded? Like, no one with this district has said they would hire me. I've had 3 interviews with them so far. And shoot, I might not have any more. If he put out like a memo or something saying like, do not hire him. Which I hope he did not. So I was complaining about one of the interviews, I drove to it, and I ended up getting like a bunch of chips from a stupid freaking truck that was on the highway throwing out rocks. I may have already said it here on the show. But yeah, I asked him to cover the damage. Oh, was I supposed to do something? I see you. Where you at? He's coming. What's all that racket? Still alive? I guess so. I guess he's still alive.
All right, let's go.
Like I said, this is the first year in memory when I had to provide references. Everyone is asking for references now. It's so flipping annoying. It's like, I don't know how you would return to work even if you wanted to. Because, again, it's like you have this entire... I really don't know what else to call it. Like, it's like a saga. It's a litany of tasks and duties you have to perform and tend to before you can even begin work. And then, if at any point they decide they don't want to hire you, they can just say they don't want to hire you. Such BS. It is bull crap. It's the reason why they have unions in the first place, because people do stuff like this. And anyway, so yeah, it's like I basically cannot get hired anymore without providing references. And I feel bad for my references too, because I know they've been contacted like 5 or 6 times already, at least. In my opinion, references should only be contacted in the event that a hiring decision is to be made. Like, only if that is the only limiting factor that is preventing me from being hired. That is the only time references should be contacted. For example, they should not be contacted if they're still unsure. They should not be contacted if, for example, only 1 interview is taking place and you need 2 or 3. If there's anything else that needs to be taken care of in the hiring process, references should not be contacted. That should be the final step before an offer is made, in my opinion. Because otherwise, you're just wasting everyone's time, right? You're possibly alienating me from my professional friends and contacts because they're sick of getting contacted over and over again. I'm sick of providing the information over and over again. And at the end of the day, what I need to remember is that it is their request. It is their request for information. And as such, they're the ones who should perform the check. I don't know why it's my responsibility to chase down my references. Again, it's probably the most devil-may-care, laissez-faire, absolute worst hiring season, I think, in recent memory. And yes, I'm 6 months now going on being unemployed. It hasn't been bad. Like, I've really enjoyed my time in unemployment, like not having to work and do like lesson planning and do all that other bull crap I used to have to do in teaching. It really was a bad job. Like, it was really a raw deal. And yeah, the last interview I told them, I'm like, the references were listed in the application. I'm so glad I said that. I should have just told that to the other principal too. I don't know why I had to provide their information again. If they ask, like, just point them back to the application. They should know. They ought to know that references were listed on the application. Their own application. Like, why would they not know that? And it's just such lazy hiring now too. Like, they ask me stupid questions like, are you currently working? Well, you would know that I'm not from spending 2 seconds looking at the resume. You spend 2 seconds looking at my resume, you already know the answer to that question, so it's a bad question.
Why don't you just back off? Somebody
the
do
heck?
something! What do you want from me? Leave!
Just stay calm.
Trying to get off, man.
Run for your life!
Yeah, they ask stupid questions like, "Why'd you leave in February?"
How are things?
Do you think it was my decision to leave in
Young guy
February?
seen her, brother. Elias Green.
Really? As a teacher, do you think it was really my choice? No, it wasn't.
Damn it.
It was past my second anniversary too, so you know it wasn't funny business. More likely, it was like stress that was on my relationship, with my boss, which is what it was. Our relationship is what felt the strain. And of course, a relationship requires two sides.
That
It's
man
not one
ain't worth
person.
spit. But here's what we're paying for him.
You don't mean that, dude.
Honest work for honest pay.
You're making an old chief's life a little easier, you know. How about coming back in a while, picking up another?
Here's that horse. There.
Okay.
Let me check the time. I understand they got to do their due diligence, but it's like, again, just do some work, man. And I've complied with every request too. Every single time they've requested references, I gave it to them. Every single time.
You will be.
And again, because that speaks to the kind of worker I am.
What's the matter with you?
I'm compliant. I do everything that needs to be squared away.
Hello.
I've got good ethic, good work ethic.
Hey there, mister. Come on in.
Hello, Sadie.
Oh,
We're about halfway
John,
through today's episode.
Come sit down.
Sure. You got any work?
Yeah. Well, there's always work. Whole country's getting robbed,
I can't
robbing,
find
or
it.
stopping robbers. Well, seems
Honest
like there
days
ain't much else
laborers.
in this world except
There's-
bastards, victims of bad.
And this BS game needs to clarify that too. There is always work if you can get hired. If you can get hired. If you can't, then guess what? There is no work. Yeah, that's how the world works. Very few people have the luxury of being what they call self-employed. That is when you can basically afford to go to work for yourself. You basically have to be very entrepreneurial. You have to have a very solid business plan or business know-how or knowledge. You've got to have a basically what they call CEO owner mindset, grindset, whatever the heck you want to call that, where you have to understand like the way a business operates. You have to know how to promote, market, and sell yourself or whatever product or service it is that you are offering. If you're like a content creator, for example, how are you marketing and selling your content online? If you are like a business owner, for example, again, where is your business plan? How is it that you will make money? Like you have to basically have answers to these questions. Now, I'm not someone who has experience being an entrepreneur, especially not a successful entrepreneur. I do have a TikTok, I do have a YouTube, I do have stuff I'm trying online, but it has never been successful. I would say it has not been successful to the point of being a legitimate venture. And yeah, we'll just listen to them jabber on like they do. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, there's work, but
Which
there's
are
not.
you exactly?
Me? In my time, all three. But same as most people.
I guess.
And the principal today called me to tell me I
About
didn't
this
get the job.
well, opportunity.
Like, what?
I just might get to be all three again.
You're not supposed to call if they
Hey.
didn't get the job. You're supposed to just send in a
You ever
rejection
heard of
email.
that?
That's standard course.
Shane Finley,
Cattle wrestler?
murderer, thief, child killer. He's wanted in 5 states. I caught him last week. He was disguised as a lady in a house for fallen women. I was bringing him in, and I got robbed by a professional rival of mine, James Langton. Oh, he's a nasty bastard. I didn't much like him even before he robbed me.
That happened a lot. This line of work.
Yeah, but they're all people like me. Anyway, now they're holed up in the desert down south, waiting to head north so they can hand them in to the state troopers in the north country. I'd given up on the job as just a bad lot, but now that you're here, maybe we can go rob them back.
Is the money good?
Yeah, it's real good. Plus, I don't much like getting robbed by no one. Come on.
Where is it we're heading again, you say?
South. Now come on, mount up. We got a ride ahead of us.
Of course.
I hate the entire John Marston show. Like, it is so annoying.
Pardon me.
Okay, Missy.
Why is it that Arthur had to die? Just why?
Follow me. Let's ride.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Hold.
That new horse?
Some folk buy ranches, some buy horses. Horses are cheaper.
He looks mean.
He is.
My ranch?
I just don't know what my life is coming to anymore. Like, I'm have to say I'm not miserable now.
Ain't had any trouble?
I got a roof over my head. I got food in the fridge.
That's it for the most part.
That's
But
good.
it's like,
Maybe these
it's
fellas I
not
heard
a
about
permanent
stayed north
situation.
or gone off
Well, I
somewhere
should say
else, or
nothing is permanent, right? It's all
dropped down
temporary.
dead in their own tracks.
It's good country.
All country is good. It's just folk that are bad.
Pretty true
Know who
that.
I got up there with me?
Uncle.
Besides Uncle.
Abigail?
Abigail ain't come there just yet.
Really? You, wanna talk about it?
Well, maybe, but Charles Smith. We found Charles Smith.
Charles? He's alive?
Yeah. He's doing okay. He was prize fighting in Saint Denis. Weren't seeming too well. He took everything real hard. But I think life on the plains is gonna be good for him.
I always liked Charles. You send him my best.
I will. You know, you can come along too. Build a cabin on the land.
I've done that all before. Can't do it again. I'm on my own now, John. I ain't so good with people.
The offer's there whenever you want it.
That's kind. Unlikely to be taken up, but kind.
You heard anything of Dutch?
Nothing. You?
No.
You just keep yammering.
He's
Telling
a
you.
colorful character.
Can't get a word in because they just don't stop talking.
That's one way of putting it. Look, what happened with the gang changed everyone who was a part of it. The Dutch who put a blanket round me after the O'Driscolls, that weren't the same man at Beaver Hollow. And now, he might not be so colorful no more.
You see a man whose character changed. I see a man who got found out for who he truly was. We was fools to follow him. I was a fool and I paid for it. And I was one of the lucky ones.
Micah, John. Micah's the one who set it off.
I blame me for following Dutch for too long, but I blame Micah for most everything else.
He's out there.
And someday, I hope we'll find him. But not now.
Come on.
I had some good memories with World of Warcraft. For sure. Classic was a good memory.
There's a spot up ahead where we can see over most of the country.
Getting back into retail was a good memory.
So, James Langton, the bounty hunter, has got this outlaw you captured in a women's boarding house?
Shane Finley. Correct.
And we aim to have Langton give him back to us before he rides north with him to hand him over to some state troopers?
Correct again. Though the giving back part is optimistic.
I'm forever the optimist.
I'm just glad they finally stopped talking.
You know, I've been doing some bounty hunting of my own since I last saw you. I ain't gonna make a habit of it.
We cut off here. This is the place.
It's a view, all right.
To my credit, I was on time for the interview. I was dressed professionally. I did everything right. There were some questions maybe I could answer differently, but I think on the whole, I think I did well in the interview. I don't want to be too self-critical because it's like, again, I didn't do anything wrong. I need to stop being so like hard on myself.
I think I see something.
Yup. There they are, down there.
Who's who?
Well, the bounty is the feller who's all tied up.
Very funny.
And that big fat feller with the funny hat, that's James Langton. The other fellas just worked for him.
Where do you think they're heading?
I don't know. Come on, let's go follow them.
Finally, we see some action in this game. I think World of Warcraft should follow Hearthstone's lead.
They'll be coming through here.
Hearthstone is fully free to play. You can re-experience all the joy of Warcraft Hearthstone. I've been playing Hearthstone for like years too. Still play daily.
Easy. There they are. We follow and keep an eye on them.
Okay, lead the way.
We know they're down there. Don't ride so close. You won't get north through here. What are you doing, huh?
You talking to me or Langton?
Sorry, I ain't used to having anyone with me. My guess is they'll stop up ahead. We can get a better look at them.
You know his thinking pretty well.
If you can't outgun them, you gotta outthink them. The canyon opens up down a ways. We'll head them off there.
Gotta start requesting virtual interviews.
Up here, get off your horse. This might be our chance.
Because that's the reality. It's like, until you work for them, they can't tell you what to do.
Yeah, they're stopping. And that sure is Shane Finley coming off the back of his horse.
I turn the car next year anyway.
The rest of Langton's men, I think.
Langton's doing pretty well for himself. How come he's got all them men and you work alone?
I got you. You're worth 10 of them.
Great.
All right, so what you think? Should we threaten them, start shooting at them, or sneak down and pick them off one by one? I reckon sneaking down is our best opportunity, but it's your call.
Let's just start shooting. Maybe they'll all run off.
Yeah, they'll scatter right away. I'm going over here.
Okay.
We gotta deal with those dogs on the ground.
I think part of being a good interviewer too is making the other party feel at ease. You're not asking too many like super personal questions or questions that are easily answered. Kind of like a show, in a way. It's like you want your audience to feel good. Again, it's not that great. It's like has to reload every. See how I dropped it? The question that I could have asked that I didn't. How would you describe your leadership style? Or what's been your journey in education? It's not like we didn't have time either. I have a hard time judging time too. Just
Check the ridge line. They got men above us.
More? Really?
The guys up there have to go.
part of it is like, do I really want to return to teaching?
Keep shooting until they're rocked.
I'm getting hit.
Here I come!
Look out! They're on the move.
Also everywhere.
We defend this spot.
Shit! Shit! Shit!
Oh, what else? Almost got that guy way over on the ridge. There, you got him. I got him. Apparently Sadie's not good for anything. So I have to make all the moves.
I'm gonna see you.
On the ridge.
That's the thing, I don't know if that HR guy is like going to be vetoing me now. Is our exchange about the rocks on the windshield. I think, like again, I can't emphasize that enough that I don't think that's correct. That they don't care at all. I'm like, well, you need to care. If you're asking people to drive out to the interview in person, you do need to be... You do need to care. You need to be responsible.
I told you I'd kill every last one of you, Langton.
Shit! That damn harpy!
Mind if I check my pocket?
Let's get Finley. Get him out of here. Okay, you're taking Finley. Let's go. Get him on your horse.
Are you with her? What's it look like? Let's go for
Let's
a
go.
ride.
Let's go. Now
I'm
let's
done
get
with
out of
this.
here. Come on. Above us, on the bridges. They're on the...
Shot. Shooting myself, of course, as usual.
Coming from the left.
Amazing shot.
Look where you're going!
This is kind of crazy.
Bastards! More riding in on the left.
One,
Hey, don't shoot me!
two.
Let's go. That's the end of the canyon.
And I think we might be free of them.
Ride for it.
I don't know if I should keep trying with that district, like I said. For all I know, they blacklisted me, which is whack. There's only one way to know. I guess keep applying. It's not like I can't.
I need to relieve myself.
There'll be a bucket in your cell.
I'm serious.
Yep, and so am I. Hit him, John, please.
Hey, you don't need to do that just because she told you to. I don't need to be hit. I just want to be treated civil.
Shut it.
Stop talking, yeah. Not rocket science. Anyway. The main problem with that district is it's not close to the house.
No,
That's the main
I can
problem.
see now it has its rewards.
That's a whole
I think
lot
it will look
easier
good on the
with a
resume.
partner.
That back there,
I finally call myself a
didn't need a
specialist instead of
partner.
just a plain old
you
teacher.
needed a whole company behind you.
We did fine. And with Langton and his men gone, There'll be more demand for our service.
Sadie, you know I'm a rancher now. Mostly.
And I know how you're paying for your
I kind of don't like
ranch.
their whole
Don't
format
spread
for
that
interviews.
Hey, I won't.
You got the questions 15 minutes
But
before
it
the
would
interview.
be
Now,
good to
what
have
exactly
you
is the
along
point of
some
that?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe.
I know it's so that way you don't feel flustered during the interview, you feel prepared,
Come on,
but
the jail's
15
up
minutes
here.
isn't much time at all,
Almost there, Finley.
I would argue. And by the way, I try to do that stuff and go in with a list of questions and just go down the list and ask them.
Whoa. Here we are.
Yeah, I'm never going to get
Grab
hired.
him and bring him in, John.
Sure.
You're a bitch and a bastard.
We brought in Shane Finley.
Great. Let's put him in the cell.
And remove them.
Bastard! Damn you!
Just put him on the bed. We're gonna watch you swing.
What for? I didn't do anything. Nothing. He's
Yeah,
alive.
yeah. I thought you said you lost him.
Well, I did, but we got him back. Oh, and James Langton's dead. We killed him.
Why'd you do a thing like that?
It was him that robbed me.
Okay. Here. Here's a decent price on Finley.
Mm-hmm, I know.
We're about to a couple of their
Love this when
schools.
you
Maybe
go
that was my
fight,
mistake.
No,
You need to start putting the pressure back on them. Like, I can interview, but I can only do so virtually.
Jim Milton.
It's John Marston here.
All right, well, if you need any more work, you can find me in town. Or maybe I'll find you.
I'm retired.
Sure. Be well, John.
He's trying to talk to me like, you got to start from the bottom again. But I'm like, it's so freaking frustrating because I've been doing it the last 6 years.
Hello, you look hungry.
That would be the equivalent of like you're working at a grocery store, right? You're working year after year. You finally work your way up to assistant manager. You lose your job because of a customer complaint. Maybe they didn't like the way something was priced, and they complained to your manager, and the manager ended up taking the customer's side, and you lost your job as a result. I know that's messed up, but that's life. And then you try returning to work, and it's like you have to start from a box person again. That's like what that's saying. And it's like most guys are going to feel betrayed as it is when you tell them that they have to start over completely. It's annoying. Absolutely, it is. It's frustrating. Because no one wants to erase progress. I do have that experience. I'm going to bring it up in each and every interview. I don't care. Because I don't want to be treated like a new teacher at all. If I continue in teaching, I want it to be acknowledged that I'm a veteran already. And I'm looking to leadership now. That's the mindset that I need to have in the interviews. Guess I could check. I mean, I didn't even want to look at this today, but it kind of ticks me off, the devil may care attitude that the HR person had. I understand they're just ordinary people too, but it doesn't take, Mother Teresa type person to validate my concerns. I was driving on the freeway through no fault of my own. A truck is throwing rocks out. The rocks hit my windshield. Can you offer to help pay for it? I have to remember what schools I have and have not. '23. And some of these jobs are like months old. So it's like, again, if you need a teacher, I can be that teacher, but you got to kind of meet me halfway. I don't want to be constantly putting myself out there and not being treated like the valued teacher that I am. Yes, you do need to show care and concern. Because otherwise, that's the reason why you're constantly looking for a special needs teacher. Because you're not treating your teachers right. You're not treating them well. And I wouldn't say I was treated like a prince. I wouldn't say I was treated like a king at the last school. But they did recognize that I was an important and valuable member of the team. And they treated me accordingly. Basically, anything I asked for, I was given. And no, I wasn't asking for like anything crazy. I wasn't asking for like a smart board. But I would ask for like, for example, like markers, whiteboards. I was provided with. I was provided with crayons, which I didn't ask for, but they gave it to me anyway. I was provided with a TV that I could project onto from. I wasn't really followed around that much by my supervisor. They trusted me. They knew I was able to do a good job. I think the main thing that's going to be holding me back is the gaps. Absolutely, the gaps on my resume, which can't be helped really. Because I mean, like what do you really want from me? What do you expect from me? I don't know. It's like it is the case. There's nothing I can actually do about it because again, it's just a list of my experiences. I could technically put that I'm a content creator now. List my YouTube, list my TikTok, but I'm not sure how that will go over on a teaching resume and teaching interview. And it's like I wouldn't necessarily call this teaching too. This is full on entertainment. Like I'm just providing entertainment, which I do also have experience doing, but it's not work experience per se because I mean, look at my view count, 0 views. Look at my revenue, my ad revenue, it's like 0. It is 0. Look at my donations. I have one donation of all time, denominator for $5. It's like so this clearly isn't my career. It's not my job. It's just something I do. It's more of a hobby, really. If asked like, so what are your hobbies? I would mention this. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy listening to music on my personal time. I enjoy playing video games. I like to play piano, although piano it's a little bit tricky. It's like a hobby, but it's more of like a chore. It's like a hobby mixed with a chore. Like something I have to do every day, something that I try to motivate myself to do. So it doesn't have like quite the low burden to do as as video games. Video games are much easier for me to play. Watching TV is much easier for me to do than piano. Piano is something I have to do. I would say for that reason, speaking to that purpose, that piano is more of like an obligation than a hobby. I would say it has elements of both. It's like both an obligation and a hobby. and I do see progress on piano. And I think like piano is one of the things that has given me hope during this incredibly dark time in my life when I was absolutely, I wouldn't say I was abused, but I was definitely not supported. Let me put it that way. I was not supported at all towards the end of my last job. And I have been absolutely tar and feathered, so to speak, metaphorically speaking, being treated like the guilty party. As so many times before, it's like anytime someone like, and that's the messed up thing about it, is you're always blamed. People always automatically assume that if you were fired, you were at fault. And that isn't always necessarily the case. Because you remember that Nicolas Cage movie. I could probably look it up. I think it's Vampire Diaries, where it's like, you have to do what I say. You have to do it or I'll fire you. Do you understand? He's got like that like grin on his face, like that big like sneaky grin. He knows he can like basically tell her to do whatever, and if she doesn't do it, she's gonna get fired. Like that has legitimately happened IRL. Like yes, it has, and it's happened time and again, where the employer-employee relationship gets jaded and warped, is how I would put it. Like there's definitely a power dynamic there, right? And anytime that is challenged or the status quo is challenged, the employee, especially in an at-will school, is going to be the target. I remember explaining this to my boss too, back at the last school. It's like, I don't want to be the whipping boy anymore. Like, I'm here to do a job. I want to be treated with respect. I don't want to be pulled into meetings left and right. For what purpose? Um, yeah. It's like I'm going to be pulled into this meeting. I'm going to be pulled into that meeting. And like I said, it was like a hit piece. It was a total hit piece. The PIP, as they call it. It was just a list of allegations against me and had no basis at all. I went through it and I refuted every single complaint. Every single complaint in that document I went through and I addressed. And I don't know if they were being cute or funny or what, but I still remember they put all of my comments as a little footnote at the end of that document as a way of saying, haha, we're in charge and you're not. Our concerns come before yours. We're big, you're small. We matter, you don't. If anything, you're a footnote here. It's just like, wow. So that's how it is. And that's the reason why I left my last job, because I wasn't valued. I wasn't respected. I wasn't treated like the model employee that I was. And the power dynamic definitely got imbalanced. It got out of whack. My boss, for like she was a lot like me. Like we both needed other support. Like we didn't got to the point like where she relied on me and I relied on her. But because of the way we changed, it became stressful. It became hard. And I used to really love working with my boss. I think she was a good boss overall. Overall, our relationship was very positive. But it was like towards the end there, again, that she just kept calling me into her office over and over again to the point where I was frustrated. I was like, please, you've got to stop calling me into your office unless there's a valid reason for doing so. And, you know, maybe I was being too blunt with her at that time. Maybe I could have put it differently. It's just like the reality is that I'm an introvert. And the more I'm put in those situations, the more I'm like, I feel like I'm being grilled. Like, you know those cop shows are like where they have the bad guy in the chair and there's like two cops hanging over them, and it's like we could play good cop, bad cop. You tell me what I want to know, or you're gonna have to answer to him, and he's a lot less nice than I am. Like that whole like sweat routine, like that's how it feels. Where it's like I feel like I'm constantly being put on the spot, and I feel like people are talking about me behind my back, and that's not how you treat me. There was a mom there too that was completely out of control, and not enough was done. You got to do more. Looking back on all my employment history, I would say that's the leading reason I leave a place of business or school, is because there's someone there that is not checked. They are more or less out of control, and there needs to be tighter controls or tighter protections in place to ensure that teachers, workers at the school are protected. Because again, what's to protect teachers from random allegations from parents? Like she was saying stuff about me that was completely untrue, totally untrue. And this didn't come up in the interview at all because again, I had to put a positive spin on it. I mean, you guys can already see like how it's added 12 minutes to today's episode. Who knows what it would have done to that interview if I just started ranting and raving. But yeah, like there was a parent, and what my boss had to do is just sit down and talk to her. Like you cannot talk to our teachers that way. Or something else that could have been very beneficial is offer to mediate. Say, I understand your concerns. I know you're frustrated. I know you're upset. Let's facilitate a discussion between you and him. So that way both of you can air out your concerns in a friendly or in a, at least mediated way. So it doesn't seem like she's going after me, I'm defending myself. It's like a verbal altercation. Like, if it gets to the point, and this is something that I didn't have the chance to explain to my boss, if it gets to the point of it being a verbal altercation, not enough was done leading up to that. It's like, it's kind of like someone messing with a sleeping bear or something. It's like you keep poking it, you keep poking it, you keep poking it, and then the bear wakes up and you're like, whoa, that was surprising. Why did that happen? But it's like, well, you were messing with the bear that whole time. So don't act like you're don't act like it's confusing, like you didn't know what was going to be happening. Like, oh, I didn't know he was going to do that. Like, no, 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 no. No. You definitely knew what you were doing. Okay, you knew what you were doing the entire time. You were trying to push buttons. You were trying to get a reaction, and you got one. And when I gave you the reaction, by the way, I did not get out of control. No, I just said, you will not talk about me that way, ma'am. And that is, again, what my supervisor at the time should have been saying. She was an audience to that comment. She should have said, you do not talk about our teacher that way. If you do, your son and or daughter is going to be unenrolled from the program. You have to take a hard stance and a hard line. Whether it's with student behavior or it's parents, you've got to take a hard line. Otherwise, people are going to walk all over you. That's just how the world works. They are not going to take you seriously if you give the impression that you need not be taken seriously. And I know my worth. I had to say that too. I said that when I was explaining what happened to my mom. I'm like, I know my worth. I know my value. I know I do not need to be treated like a doormat or a rug or a carpet for you to rub your feet off on. I am not a target for mudslinging or, to be the target of random allegations with no basis in reality. And again, that's something else too. She was basically being empowered by my boss because she was being validated. She was not being addressed. You have to address, not validate. If you validate, yes, she's going to keep going off. She's going to keep having rants after rants about me, it was making me feel very uncomfortable too. It's like, why is she saying all this stuff about me when she doesn't even know me? She doesn't even know me. I haven't even hardly talked to her at all. I talked to her in the classroom when I was giving her recommendations for her son, but I don't really know her. I've worked with her son, but that is dicey. I don't know if I would go so far as to call it scary, but it is dicey because, I mean, she could say whatever she wants about me. I've said like basically one thing to her, and it was about her son and what I think would benefit him. That's me being a good teacher. That's not me being some kind of like predator or something or pervert or something. And I don't think she was saying that, but she was like calling into question like my qualifications, which there was no reason for that. I would like to emphasize that there was no reason for that. Because I had I still do have. I haven't had credentials to teach. And I've got a degree. I still have got it. And so, really, I think it was my boss's complacency that caused the entire situation. And maybe she wanted to see a fight break out, which, we all were there in high school when we saw the fights break out and everyone would run over because they want to see the fight. It's what I call blood sport. As an admin, as someone who's in charge of the school, you should not engage in that at all. No. And if you have something to say or a way of preventing it from occurring, it is your responsibility to ensure that it does not get to that level. Because by that time, it's like you've already missed multiple red flags. Here's a mom who's like going off. She's ranting and raving. She's saying this, that, and the other thing. And by the way, I don't think I ever read her full rant. I was just like, he's not qualified, just a bunch of negative stuff. And yeah, she didn't know me at all. She based it on, again, a misinterpretation and misunderstanding about what I said about her son. Because she thought I was like insulting him. And going even farther, I would say the boy did not talk. It's not like we don't know what's happening with the boy. I observed the student, so I know what I'm talking about. It's not like I'm like just, completely clueless about it. Like, no, I know the student. So don't pretend like I am the bad guy, that I am insulting the student, or I'm demeaning the student by my comments. Don't pretend like my comments are coming from a place of ignorance, because I know what I'm talking about. Again, I've seen your boy. I know how he interacts and engages in the classroom. So please do not get it twisted, as they say. Don't twist it. Which is exactly what she was trying to do. Because as I've talked about previously too, sometimes parents do struggle with insecurity themselves, you know? And I mean, I would say that if you are an insecure parent, you need to get help. And I don't know, maybe that's being a bit too forceful. Maybe I should just say you should seek some kind of help. Because it's kind of like my stance on messes. If you make a mess, what I would teach the students is it is your responsibility to clean it up. It is no one else's responsibility to clean up said mess. And the problem with today's world is there are too many people who think they can make a mess and it's everyone else's responsibility to clean it up. And that was the same situation with that truck throwing rocks off. It's like, that is not my responsibility. That is not my problem. That truck should not even be street legal. Where are the police? Or, you know, I don't know if I'll go so far as to say National Guard, but that seems like it's a public health and safety issue. Maybe I should be talking to the governor about this, but he never seems to answer the phone. Pick up the phone. Like, no one at that level seems to care at all about what happens. Well, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Donations, Venmo, Stormer Show. Sleep tight. Have a good night. As always, thanks for watching.